What if I told you there's one video that could change your entire football career? This isn't your average injury prevention guide. This is the video that will give you the secrets to staying in the game longer, stronger, and without constant fear of injury. As a football player, getting injured isn't just painful, it can crush your momentum, set back your goals, and worse, destroy your entire career. We've all heard the same injury prevention advice. You need to stretch more, ice, rest up. But what if that's not enough? What if we're missing the most important part of the puzzle? What if we're doing all of that and the pain is still there? Today I'm going to show you how to rethink injury prevention using these methods you've probably never heard of, but ones that could save your career. I need you to keep an open mind because we're diving into science and film-backed evidence that you need to understand. Whether you're a pro athlete or just starting out, and depending on your level of understanding about the human body, you probably have no idea what methods I'm about to share with you. Now, it is common knowledge that training too much or overtraining is a huge factor in causing injury, right? What if I told you that statement isn't entirely true? More on that later. I'm gonna be real with you. Doing traditional training methods such as benching, squatting, deadlifts, power cleans, as a football player, especially as a wide receiver, is terrible for your body. Why? Because it not only does not translate to the field, but it also destroys your natural movement patterns. Yes, your body has a natural way it's supposed to move. You will learn all about that shortly. Your body moves in every direction while being under extreme forces while playing football. Traditional training has a very negative effect on our athletic performance and our society as a whole, and you will soon learn why. It's time we rethink how we prepare our bodies for athletic performance. This is where GOATA movement comes in. GOATA for short stands for Greatest of All Time Actions, and it focuses on training the body to move in its most natural, efficient ways possible. Instead of fighting against the body's biomechanics, it works with them, using spiraling, coiling movements that mimic how the body wants to move. Keyword, wants to move. Imagine reducing the wear and tear on your joints, preventing ligament damage, and increasing your explosiveness on the field, all by simply moving the way your body was designed to move. To give a short backstory about GOATA, they recognized that there were 4 types of people that went through life and had little to none non-contact injuries. And those 4 types of humans were toddlers, young children, indigenous tribes, decade-plus professional athletes, and old people that can still run in marathons. Yes, there was a lady that was 105 years old that was running in marathons. They studied them and they noticed they all moved very similarly. They all have the same movement patterns. The way they move their legs and their head, you'll see why. They move with their feet straight, close together. Their inside ankle bone was high. They were back chain dominant, and their legs bowed with pressure and cornered out of the pressure. Now, if that's your first time hearing terms like their inside ankle bone is high or their back chain is dominant and bows and corners, I already know you're very confused. This is your inside ankle bone. And when we say high, we want it to be higher than the outside ankle bone. Back chain dominance means your posture is your chest in front of your hip at a good angle. And this is bowing and cornering, just to give y'all some graphics y'all can look at to understand it a little better. The people at GOATA realized that when athletes tore their ACLs or Achilles, it was usually from their heel striking the ground, which is inside ankle bone low when we want it high, and their leg is not properly forming a bow. These are the reasons why athletes shouldn't squat, bench, deadlift, or power clean, because those movements do the opposite of what our natural movement patterns require. And those squats and power clean movements are all normal to our society, and that's why you see so many people needing surgery, whether you're an athlete or not. But traditional training isn't the only way that GOATA realized everyone was getting hurt. They realized that the shoes we wear and the way we rest are just as significant, if not more, to causing injury. Sitting down in chairs is a normal thing to us as a society, and it's something we do all the time. We do it in school, we do it at home, we do it in the meeting room, but we become front chain dominant, and our feet can point outwards as we rest in chairs. Same thing for couches. They make our tail go in front of the crown, which is front chain dominance behavior. Indigenous tribes are the closest things that we have to our ancestors in terms of their way of life. And they are comfortable resting in deep squats and in seiza positions. They don't sit on chairs or in cars or on couches, yet they are injury free. They walk around barefoot, or sometimes they walk around in some type of sandals that don't have as much cushion as our Nike shoes. You don't see people in tribes wearing Nike shoes, wearing fully cushioned Yeezys, Jordans. You don't see that. That doesn't happen. They understand the importance of being barefoot and the muscles we develop when we are barefoot most of the time. Shoes are like sofas for the feet, and I just explained how bad couches are for you, so you understand that you need to be barefoot often. When you wear shoes, you don't develop the necessary foot muscles, and that is a huge contributor to injury. You see all these tribes, they walk on grass a lot with their bare feet, and that's called grounding. And they're doing it all the time, and there's so many benefits for you when you ground, so look into that, and you need to do that more often. Now that you know you are slowly causing injuries over time by the way you rest and by the shoes you're wearing, you might be asking yourself, well, what can I do to prevent injury? Now that normal things you have known all your life have been recognized as harmful for your body. Thanks to the people who have founded GOATA, they have certain exercises and movements you can do to get your movement patterns right. And I suggest y'all go to their Instagram, their YouTube pages, and learn from them because they explain it the best way. Or if you're interested, I have a mentorship program where I can teach you these ways of training and so much more when it comes to being the best football player you can possibly be. If that's something you're interested in or you'd like to learn more about, follow me on Instagram and DM me there. But there are some things you can do while not exercising that can prevent injury. Now that you know that the way you rest and the shoes you wear can cause injury, there are certain things that you can do that will prevent injury, and that is to rest in certain positions. Instead of sitting in chairs or on couches, progressively spend more time resting on the ground. And rest on the ground in positions like this deep squat, a Seiza position, or even crisscross applesauce. This helps you because everything you do with your body, your nervous system copies, okay? I need you to treat your nervous system as a 5-year-old. Everything you do is a neurological rep, and make sure they are good reps. Next up, we got HIIT training. High intensity training. Not only is HIIT training amazing for improving cardiovascular fitness and overall stamina, but it's also a critical tool for injury prevention. By training in short bursts of high intensity, you're conditioning your body to handle the same kind of explosive efforts required on the field. NFL strength and conditioning coach, forgive me if I say his name wrong, Mark Asanovich, spent a total of 14 years training NFL players for the Jaguars and for the Buccaneers from 1995 to 2008. He didn't just have athletes stop doing Olympic lifts, he used HIIT training. And I just told you that it means high intensity training, which is basically one set training to failure on your list. You would lift the weight slowly so you can get the eccentric benefits as well as stronger concentric benefits. By the way, eccentric movements are really good for your joints. He says that strength translates into speed when you put it in the proper mechanics. And we just talked about our proper mechanics moving the right way. When you do Olympic lifts like cleans, jerks, and deadlifts, they put more forces on your tendons and ligaments, and it slowly tears your body down. Not only do they put more forces on your tendons and ligaments, but they also change your movement patterns like we covered already. Coach says that powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and football are the 3 most dangerous sports. Why would you want to combine all 3? That's what some of these coaches have you doing. They have you Olympic lifting, powerlifting, and playing football. That's killing your body. That's killing your joints. Okay? So we need to, if we want to play football, we got to take out those 2. And to properly do these HIIT training exercises, you must understand that training to failure is good. That max effort equals max results. NFL players do high intensity training. The best way to get explosive is to train for strength. The best way to improve strength is slow, controlled, progressive overload reps. And progressive overload means you are slowly upping the weight you use on a particular exercise. And the last thing about lifting weights as a football player that Coach Mark Asanovich said was that he would rather undertrain an athlete than overtrain them. And if an athlete did too much, or if they wanted to squat or bench or hang clean, he would kick them out of the weight room. If you would like to get a better understanding about this, I suggest watching Jay Vincent's videos on YouTube where he talks to Coach Mark Asanovich on his channel and has other HIIT training videos that you can learn from. Or you can learn about the same mentorship program I mentioned earlier about the GOATA training. Research has shown that athletes who incorporate HIIT into their training routines are more resilient to both contact and non-contact injuries. But don't just take my word for it. Try incorporating it into your routine and see your results. For HIIT training, all you got to do is choose between 7 different exercises, 7 different movements in the weight room that train a separate muscle group, and do 1 set to failure. You can do warm-up sets, but go 1 set to full failure, max effort. And you might feel like you need to do more. You might feel like you're not getting too much work done, but I promise you, is the best thing for you. If you've been lifting, if you've been squatting, powerlifting, you don't want to get injured. Okay, moving on to our last talking point. We come to the idea of overtraining being the number one factor to causing injury, right? What if I told you that wasn't entirely true? Studies show that overtraining has no correlation with training too much. So you can basically say that overtraining has no correlation with overtraining. The real term you should use when talking about overtraining is paradoxical deconditioning syndrome. But y'all are here to get answers, not do more research. So here is what's causing the injuries you believe are from overtraining. The causes of these injuries, or a lot of injuries in general, don't come from training too much. It actually comes from poor sleep quality, high amounts of stress, not the right amount of calories, and not the right of carb and protein intake. Injuries do not correlate with training volume or intensity. In fact, know what does correlate with training volume and intensity? Your skill level, but that's a video for another day. All right, boom. Now that you know all of these tactics, all this information, here are the 3 things you can start doing to implementing these tactics into your life. Okay, number 1, be more mindful how you move your body in the exercises you do. Rest in the positions I showed you. And if you would like to see me go more in depth on GOAT movements that you can do while you're working out in a future video, let me know in the comments. And also there are some podcast links that I'll put in the description of this video that y'all can listen to, and y'all can gain so much information from those because they are so valuable and they teach you so much. It'll really open your eyes on certain things. And I want you to listen to the people who work at GOAT, not just me outside of GOAT. All right, number 2, start doing HIIT training. Minimize the Olympic lifts and only train 1 set to failure to save your joints and ligaments. After your HIIT workouts, you may feel like you can do more, but I promise you are helping the body by not doing 4 sets of 12 all day. We are football players, we aren't bodybuilders. I understand that we want to look good on the field and we want to get big muscles, but getting too much muscle can slow you down. And we have to be athletes, we have to be fast and explosive. So don't rush the bodybuilding process. Don't rush building muscle. We want to be as skilled as we can, and lifting weights doesn't really translate that much unless we're training for strength like in the HIIT training methods I've been talking about. And last one, number 3, get your sleep together. Stop stressing so much. Eat the right foods and the right amount of food. If you don't eat enough foods, you could be slowly causing injury, okay? We need the right protein intake, we need the right carb intake, the right calories, and we need 8 hours of sleep, and we need to stop stressing so much, okay, man? Go meditate, spend time in silence. Understand that the only thing that matters is right now. This moment right now is the only thing that matters. You don't need to stress too much, you don't need to worry too much. If you're worrying about something, you're probably not busy enough. Take these steps seriously and you'll see massive improvement in not only your performance, but also your ability to stay injury-free. Just because we stay injury-free from these movements doesn't mean it doesn't affect our performance. Our best ability is availability, and anything that increases function increases the performance. And if you are serious about chasing these NFL dreams, and you really want to be a great football player, the mentorship program I have teaches you all of these skills and knowledge you've learned in this video and how you can apply it to your life to live the NFL player lifestyle you've always dreamed of. If that is something you're interested in, follow me on Instagram and DM me about it, but only if you are willing to change your life. If not, then please leave me alone. Remember, football is a game of inches, and preventing injuries is how you stay in the fight for every yard. If you're serious about elevating your performance, this is the only video you need for injury prevention. You have all the right knowledge. Start looking at these 3 things I told you about and find different ways you can apply it to your life. And go out and apply them to your life. And then ask yourself, in this moment right here, right now, what type of man do you want to be?